The stage is set.
Yeah.
It's showtime for the MLB. Spring training starts. What's today's date? 20th. So 2 days. We got 2 days until spring training starts, but it still just feels like something isn't complete yet in the MLB, and that's probably due to
Not
the
being
fact that
complete.
you have Bellinger, Snell, Montgomery, JD Martinez, Matt Chapman, and even Joey Votto not even sitting on a team.
All
You have
right,
all these talents, and they're all just homeless.
Votto's done.
I know Votto's done, but I mean, it's a little disrespectful for the Reds to not just throw a bone out there and say,
Yeah.
"Come on back."
You know who
They're
all
somewhat
those
contending.
besides Votto, you know who that agent is?
Oh,
They're all under Scott Boras.
all of them?
Yep.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
I did not know that actually.
They're all Boras clients.
Oof.
It's to me, it's not right to have this type of talent without a team with spring training starting. I mean,
They want
this
too
is the
much
point.
money.
I mean, regardless if they want too much money or not, this is the point of year where, as a player, money aside, you're supposed to start getting ready to play an entire season. An MLB season is long; it's 162 games. So these are guys that should be out on the field, starting to get to know their teammates, become a locker room presence, and they're sitting at home. It doesn't make sense to me.
I feel like teams are starting to realize that players are also treating sports like a business. So teams are throwing that bone back at them. Players want these over the top, ridiculous 9-year, 270, $360 million deals.
Yep.
And your low 30s, they're not going to give you 9 years till you're paying till you're 40. The return on investment is not worth the money.
Yeah,
Sign the short term, give them an
you're getting
extra
4 or 5
$10
years
million.
out, 4 or 5
Sign,
years out of a 9-year deal.
give them the short term, give them 2 years, give them an extra 10, 15 million on top. So instead of a 30-year, say you get a 2-year 45, and then you're
Yep.
done. Because
Yeah,
guys are
makes sense.
not, especially as a pitcher, you're not lasting. You're not being a Cy Young candidate for the next 9 years over that deal.
Mhm.
And you're paying for Cy Young money now. Yeah, it worked for Judge. Judge is a hitter. He's also 27, 28.
Yep.
Around
He's a
there,
little bit younger,
or
but
older, or whatever. But as a pitcher, Snell's already a two-time Cy Young. Montgomery, no Cy Youngs, and
yep,
they're looking for long-term deals. You're just at the end of the day,
they're
you're
not going to
just
get him.
not worth. You're not worth the money. Snell,
Yeah,
the Yankees made an offer. It's still on the table. It's the only offer he got. I mean,
he should bite on it.
he
If
should
he
just
wants to win, if he wants the contract, the Yankees are the place to go for him.
take the money and just instead make an opt out after one or some opt out after two. If you got a 5-year opt out after two, and then you just take the guaranteed and you leave. I mean,
Yep.
I don't understand how much greedier you have to be to play baseball. You're pitching what 30 times in a 162 game season,
Yeah,
making a
roughly.
gazillion dollars. I'll do it for 50,000.
Yeah.
To get shelled for an inning.
But to fix this problem, because I mean, I outside of the money and all that, I just don't think it's right that these guys aren't on the field gearing up for an entire season. Do you think the MLB can bring something in to, or maybe implement a deadline for free agent
I was
signings?
gonna
Say you have to
say
be signed by this date, say it's February 1st, or you can't sign with a team until a month into the season.
that's what. So I like the idea that you can't sign, that you have a deadline like February 1st, like you said, or the end of
Hmm.
February, like a week before spring training starts,
Yeah.
maybe. So you have that deadline. But the problem is that if you wait, say you don't get signed, and you said like a month in, is that too long of a time? Is All
I don't
Star
think
break
so.
is All Star break sitting out half the season a bigger what if? Because I think guys will say, oh, a month. I could work out on my own, knowing that my teammates isn't as important as being in shape for a month.
That's
That
true,
might
but I
not carry
mean,
over. It do you? I
Maybe the
don't
All
know
Star
how
break would be
big.
better.
I don't know how big a punishment would have to be to incentivize guys to be like, you know what, maybe that 20 million isn't actually worth it because if I show out this year, I can make 30. So the
I
All
think
Star
it
break
could
might
be,
give us
yeah.
time, and it's also a good reset point. But
Hmm.
also, you're missing 80 games. Like
It's a
it
long
hurts.
part of the
It's a
season.
long part of the season. but
You're
you'll
not
be there
part of
for the
that
back
team.
half. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not. So I think it needs to be longer than a month because guys
I'm
will
kind of
weigh
with
the
you. I'm
opportunity
kind of with you
cost
with
on
the
that.
All-Star break.
But
But I
I
think
I do
something
like the
does need to
signing.
be done
I like the
because
month before. That's a good. It's a hard cut.
you
Makes
need
agents think too.
yeah, you need to start acclimating to a new team if you ultimately do sign somewhere else and you don't return to where you just came from. It's baseball's different than a lot of other sports because a lot of it's up here in the head instead of actually just being laid out on the court or the field. I mean, it's the most mental game that exists. So you need to feel comfortable with who you're playing with. Developing a rapport with all your teammates is something that's essential. It's almost as important as being out there and practicing. That's just my take. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean the thing is this, the MLB, and I understand this isn't really that important. Like MLB free agency as a whole is just extremely boring. Whereas like
Mm-hmm.
in the NFL is similar too. The NBA free agency is super entertaining because
Mm-hmm.
it's really 3 days where you find
Mm-hmm.
out everything. And normally it's
Because
just the
everyone
first
waits to
day.
the end, and there's a deadline.
Exactly. And there's a deadline, and it's like, but the first day you can start signing, free agency opens, everybody signs with their team immediately. And I
Yep.
think that has to do with the salary cap, obviously, because players know there's only so much money
Mm-hmm.
that can go around. And we're not saying to implement a salary cap. We've discussed that we don't think that's like the greatest idea. But I think a deadline to have players, I think, let's say the day before spring training starts, that's the cutoff. And if you don't sign
Mm-hmm.
with a team at that point, you're not eligible to join back on a team, I don't know, until they can just say August 1st.
What if they did? What if they did too? Like if you miss that, like you said, like the day before, if you miss that, you're only guaranteed like a certain amount of money too. What if you had a money
Mm-hmm.
cap also? Because how are you gonna judge some? How are you gonna judge how much you're gonna pay someone for? Like if you said August, half a year.
Say, well, this is my take on this. Say, I don't know. I'll just use a team as or use a player as an example. Say Blake Snell is deciding between staying with the Padres and going to the Yankees, and he wants all this money and all these years, and he says, "No, I'm not going to sign. I'm going to wait my turn and try again at the All Star break." Right? Say all of a sudden the Yankees are contending and they're leading the AL East and they say, we need this guy, maybe they're going to shell out a little bit more money.
Mm,
But then on the flip side, say that the Yankees are not doing what they thought that they were going to be doing this year. They're fourth in the AL East. And all of a sudden they say, why are we going to pay this guy all this money if we're not actually doing what we thought we were going to do? So it is truly a gamble for these guys.
You just can't
Uh,
have everybody sitting there waiting, though, around, because it's not fair to the other teammates. And
I agree too.
it's not fair to the fans too to be sitting here saying, okay, what's our team going to be looking like this year? I know obviously that's not as important, but it kind of is important. I don't know. I think honestly the idea that we have of a deadline for, let's say the day before spring training and you can't join a team until whatever point, I think August 1st probably would work, right?
Mhm.
Like something like that, just some random date. I think that would work. I think that would be good.
Yeah.